was 6 years old when my dad died, and at that time it wasn't something that you shared. It wasn't something that we were even made aware of as children. And my mom died about 1.5 years later. And so it's been something that we've been aware of and that's been part of our lives almost since the beginning.
I was scared, alone, didn't know nothing, you know. I don't do drugs, I was no streetwalker, I wasn't promiscuous, or however you say that word.
It's just not a disease that you can put into a box.
I was 17 when I found out I was positive. And I had a lot of plans for my life. Those plans I felt like all those plans crumbled around me at the time. And there was a time in my life years ago when I was talking about funeral arrangements.
Well, when I first found out, I only told my 2 daughters, my mom, and my best friend. And I was like, don't y'all tell nobody, because of the stigma.
When I first started disclosing my status to my family and back home in a very small town that I lived in, there were some repercussions. For me, that made me a stronger person. And for me, I have that attitude of, well, if you have a problem with it, that's your problem.
I've been positive for over 15 years, and I'm fortunate. I was able to get, my physician got me hooked up very quickly. I didn't have to deal with the fact that I might have died.
The best thing that you can do is reach out to help any way you can. Don't be afraid to stand up and tell your story. Don't be afraid to stand up and volunteer.
After 2 or 3 years, one of the things is I had to decide, do I just sort of become a resident under the radar, or do I actually go out and reach and try to help other people?
I like to be there for the next lady when she finds out she's positive, to give her a little comfort, to let her know she's not alone.
Not having to hide this gave me a freedom that I can't explain.
I just wish we could have more peer people in the doctor's offices or whatever to help hold their hand and walk them through at the beginning, to let them know it's gonna be okay. You know, it's gonna be okay. Not to say that it's easy, but it's gonna be okay, and it'll get better.
At this point in time, I choose to control it. And that's what you have to do. You got to sort of grab the bull by the horns. I'm in Texas, so you can grab the long horn if you want. And one of the things is you want to make sure that you give it everything that you've got. And if I had, with my last breath, one of the things that I would do is I would volunteer. I would get out there and I would do those things, because that's one of the things that I've learned. You don't let it beat you.
A lot has changed as far as the outlook for people who are HIV positive. My life has gone from, you know, in the early days being very alone, depressed, sick, to HIV is not even an issue for me anymore, really. You know, I'm surrounded by it all day long, but I joke about it. I mean, it's the way that I control having the virus.
In our minds, we think, don't tell nobody, it's gonna be over, they're not gonna like me anymore, whatever. And I feel now that I'm out there that it was mainly me. We think the worst, but if they love you no matter what.
You can't just sit at home. You know, some of us have great thoughts, and one of the things is that those thoughts are great, but you got to put them into action. And either you get up and you get yourself out of bed, you get dressed and you get going and get out there and pull people and get involved, or you sit at home and just sort of say, I live in a glass bubble and wait for the next foot to drop.
Don't worry about where it comes from. Just love me up. Just enjoy me now. Just enjoy me. You know, don't worry about what have happened, because it's here and we're gonna go forward with it.
I had to prove to myself that I was able to help.